Alrighty, welcome back everyone. So a couple things here. I made a couple changes to my microphone, so if it sounds worse, I'll try to fix it. But I wasn't really happy with the way that it sounded. It does look like I'm peaking a little bit, so I might need to go ahead and make a couple settings there, but hopefully we can get that figured out. It kind of sounded muffled or something, so I guess the settings that I had weren't the best. I can also just, turn this down a little bit as well. Last episode, I guess I actually want to go ahead and talk about my NeoVim setup is, I think, basically complete. There is a couple more things that I want to kind of do, so we'll kind of see how things go, but I'm gonna give it a shot with a couple smaller projects before hopping in here, get used to it and everything. But the goal of me was basically to learn Vim, that way I get better with the keyboard and mouse, or not mouse but better with the keyboard, because I never really truly learned how to type quote unquote properly. So I want to go ahead and learn, and yeah, I think it's gonna be a cool learning experience. But I think I basically have everything done, but I might need to make a couple more tweaks. That's why I wanted to give it a test. Cool. So what we worked on last episode was we got it so we could type in here like hello, and also go ahead and like click on this, and then everything is working kind of how we expect it to. So that looks pretty good. So now what we need to go ahead and do is make it so that we can actually search for emojis, and we also need to, I guess, make sure we can post them. I'm not really that concerned about the post. We need to be able to open and close this, clicking this button, and maybe we take a look at the recents. We'll see about the recents. I'm not sure if we're going to do that 100%, but that's kind of like the plan here. If we can get this open, close, and things like that, we can go ahead and close this off. And the next thing I kind of want to do is focus on getting it to be able to actually see post on the screen. But like I mentioned before, to see post, you have to be able to follow people, and to be able to follow people, we're going to need the search. So that's what we're going to work on after that. So we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully I can at least get the emoji stuff done, and then move on to that maybe tonight, or we can hop into Java in the next stream and move on from there. So that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the code. Let's go ahead and go into our emoji dropdown, and we need to go ahead and find where our search bar is. So here's our search icon, and the placeholder should actually be search emojis. So that's the first thing that I saw. On change, we're going to make a function. Now Twitter has some, like, I don't know how to explain it, but Twitter has like I guess metadata or something on the emojis, so it can search by more than just a name. I don't know what these are, and I'm not going to go through and get all the metadata. I mean, maybe I could go through and find descriptions and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I already put myself through all that pain setting up the emojis, so we're not going to do that. It also has a div. I'm just going to give it a class name equal to emoji drop down search, and this, I'm just going to call it clear maybe, and this is going to be like this, and then inside there's like an X. So if I do this, and we could probably just use an X, but I think it's actually a material UI icon. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my material UI, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the close rounded and import it, and we'll just put it here. So close rounded icon, and that guy will go in here. So let's scroll back down. This file is getting pretty gross, but it is what it is. And we'll probably want to go ahead and style that up, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. This will also have it on click equal to something. So basically, let's go ahead and set it up so that we can, I guess, store the search information. So we're going to need a state. So we'll go ahead and say const emoji search content, and set emoji search content equal to use states, and this will be a string, and it'll start out as nothing. All right, so that's good to go. And then we'll go ahead and scroll down here and make a new function, and this will be const update the emoji search content, and this will take in, I guess, an react dot it'll be, I'm pretty sure it's a change event, I guess, right? Change event on an HTML input element. Okay, and then here what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll say set, what do we call this? Set emoji search content. We're going to go ahead and set that to e dot current target, or actually I guess we can say e.target.value, right? .target.value. We'll set that value, and then what we can do for the button that we click on, we can go ahead and do an on click on this button wherever we put it. So here, this on click will be really simple. We'll just go ahead and say set the active, or set the emoji search content and we'll set it to an empty string. So we'll just set that to an empty string, and then we're gonna wrap this in curly braces, and we're gonna make sure that there's basically content. So we're going to say emoji search content question mark. We're going to go ahead and show that. Otherwise, I don't know what the deal is with my whatever this is, my colons not or being multiple, but I must have a bug on my keyboard or something. But there we go. So if there's content in there, we'll show it, otherwise we won't. And then on change, we'll go ahead and call the update, not current post, update, what do we call this? Update emoji search content. And right now we also want to, I guess we want to set up this value, but we also want to be able to, we might also want to say value equal to this emoji search content. And then we also want to basically map through and change the value of basically what's inside the row. As soon as you start typing, everything goes inactive and you can't click on them. So that's going to be fun. And then also need to basically map them. I'm going to basically just like, okay, if the name contains this, filter it. So whenever we update this, we need to basically search through all of the different things. So I think we can use that find again. So we could probably say like, and I don't know how we're going to do this. We might need another const, and then we'll say search emojis. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head, and then set search emojis equal to use state, and it'll be a emoji. So export const emoji data. So this will be an emoji data array, and obviously it'll start out as an empty array because we haven't had any data in it. And then, so what we're going to go ahead and do is every time we come into the update, we're going to go ahead and set the emoji search, or set the search emojis. We're going to have a callback function, and we're going to basically need to map through the emojis. So we need to return, we're going to say emojis dot filter, and we're going to filter by emoji where, and we want to say I guess we can just say emoji dot name. Do we have to say emoji is type emoji? Because emojis, and this doesn't get exported, so let's go ahead and export this interface, export emoji, and we'll go ahead and import this. We won't import it, we'll come into here and update that to emoji, and this is going to probably be annoying. So emoji dot name dot, I don't know why it makes us wrap this, because I thought you could always just inline this, but I guess I was wrong. We're going to do emoji dot name, and I think I want contains or includes, and we want it to include the e dot target dot value. And then we'll basically keep track of this. I guess, I don't know, I guess we don't need to keep track of it, but we're going to keep track of it. We're going to go ahead and set those. And then maybe every single time our emoji, what do we call this? Search emojis dot length changes, we'll console.log the search emojis, just to see if it's working kind of like we expect. It should basically get pretty small pretty quickly after we type in like a couple words. Error in source cannot find emojis. We might not have exported it. So let's go ahead and export emojis. Except it does not like this. So argument type is not assignable to parameter, is not assignable to set state emoji data. Oh, you know what? We have to map it, don't we? Dot map. And we will return a object, and we'll map emoji. I always forget about this step. So, and then we will return, forget what these are. So let's see. So we need name, category, yada, yada, yada. So let's fix these. So name will be emoji, whoops, dot name. Category will be emoji dot category. The emoji will be emoji dot emoji. And finally, image will be emoji dot image. We have access to the modifier or the skin tone. We also have access to convert modifier to index. So we can go ahead and say that this is images convert, and we're going to say convert modifier to index. We're going to get the current skin tone. We might have to do this. And then this, because we made it multi-line. There we go. All right, so that should work, because if the skin tone is none, it'll be 0, and so on and so forth. So that should be fine. And then we need to basically map these similar to how we did here. If we scroll back up, the issue with what I'm thinking we do, because we generate emoji by category, I'd like to do something similar to this, but I guess we don't need to, because we already have the list, right? So what we could do, and this is going to get really ugly, but I guess we could also make sure that the emojis work really quick. We need to say filter dot includes dot or filter dot name dot lowercase dot includes, and then we're gonna say this, and whoops, this should be a function, so let me go ahead and call it as a function. Dot includes dot this dot to lowercase, and we'll just go ahead and convert everything to lowercase, and that should fix that issue. So now if we refresh, grinn, yep, okay, grinning. So now it's basically working as we expect. So now whenever there's content here, and let's also see if we click on this, yep, it clears the content. So now anytime there's content, we want to basically gray out all of our drop downs and also make it so they're not clickable. So that'll be interesting. So we have this generate here, and I guess what we want to do, right, is, I guess that's the problem, right? We basically need to wrap this whole thing. Maybe this is the issue. Maybe we need to wrap this whole thing, this whole div here in this guy, right? And then we do one of these, hit enter, and do one of these like so. So then it's at least inside of a fragment. And then we do this. So there's that. And then so now we do this where we say like not and emoji, I think it's called emoji search content question mark. We'll basically check to see if there's emoji search content. If there's not, then we do basically the same thing, except it'll be slightly different. So that seemed to have fixed the annoyingness, I guess. And this is somehow scuffed, but whatever, I guess. So now instead of having this if else, we don't care about checking. Basically, we just want to return the inactive, except we do not want it. Whoops. Except we don't want it to have any on click on it. So let's go ahead and get rid of this, and we can clean this up a little bit, and then we want to get rid of some on-click stuff. So we don't want on-click because we don't want to be able to navigate, and we do not care about the ID, and I guess that should do it. So now if we type in there, I should go ahead and gray out everything and ignore it more or less. We won't be able to click on it. Fingers crossed. If we type in here, as you can see, so the hover is still working, so we need to take the hover off. So to do that, so I think it's the emoji inactive. There's already a style on it. So what we could end up doing, so we're gonna go ahead and say emoji dash inactive search, because we don't want the other hover effects that we can't get rid of. So save that, come back in here, we'll go ahead and set inactive dash search, and now hopefully that gets rid of that. Cool. So now let's go ahead and get it so that this guy is working. So let's grab our emoji drop down search clear, and let's deal with this. Let's see where our search is. So cool, paste that in. So width will be 100%, or actually 100%, 18 px. Height will be 18 px, and then position will be absolute. And here, let's just go ahead and say right 0, top 0 for now, and we're gonna go and make some changes. It's gonna have a display of flex in it, and then we're gonna have a flex, doesn't matter the direction, but we're gonna justify content in the center and align items. Whoops, align items in the center. So that should deal with that. And also this whole background color of black, and it's going to have a border radius of 100%. I think that's everything now. Now, obviously we're gonna need to make this smaller and we need to move it, but that's perfectly fine. We can deal with moving it. So let's go ahead and make the, wherever this guy went. So let's make this X smaller. So SX equal to, we might need to also make the color white. So we'll say color is white, and then we'll say font size is maybe, let's try 12px and we'll see how big that is. But now we want to go ahead and move this. So this one is where the finesse comes in a little bit. If we come back into our drop down CSS, so right, let's say like 8px, and then top maybe like 12px, and then I'm just going to adjust this after the fact in the video. The up and down looks okay. We might tweak it to 16, and then maybe we'll tweak this to 16 as well, and we'll just see how that looks. So now we're just going to go ahead and say top 15, and we're going to call that good. And then also let's go ahead and see if there's a hover effect on this. So yes, let's go ahead and just put cursor pointer on that. That way we can see that it's a pointer, and I think that will do it. So I think that looks pretty good. Click on it, it goes away. Type in grinning again, and it works just fine. So that might not look perfectly centered. There's something weird about like the way this guy works, so we could maybe put like height, like fit content, and width fit content. But again, I don't really think this does anything. So I mean, I don't think this will change anything, but I mean, maybe it won't hurt. Okay, so that did make it bigger, and it centered it and made it bigger. So what if we say like, or 12 and 12? Yeah, it doesn't look centered anymore, whatever, it's fine. So that's working. Now we need to basically change this guy right here, and then if no emojis are found, it's going to, it says search results and then no emojis found. So now let's scroll down here. So here's our drop down selector, and this is what we're gonna have to modify. Let's go ahead and wrap this whole thing inside of a fragment. Okay, so let's do this, wrap this into a fragment, and then we will do this. So this is kind of unconventional, but it is what it is. All right, and then what we're gonna go ahead and do is do this. We're gonna wrap this guy, and where'd the fragment go? We're gonna wrap this guy, and we're gonna go ahead and indent this fragment once again. Cool, so this is the default. So we're going to go ahead and say, let's say if no search content, I guess. So search, not search emojis, emoji search content, question mark. So if there's none, whoops, if there's no search emoji content, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and display this. Otherwise, if there is, we're going to go ahead and have something different. We might take this whole section here and make sure, yeah, I think that's fine. Copy this and just reuse this. And this ID would be search maybe. Not that it matters. This doesn't matter. And this will be search results. I think I like that more. And then we can have our, instead of generate again, we'll go ahead and have our emoji or search emojis, dot map each emoji, and I think I like that more. Let's see what this looks like really quick. Yeah, cool. So it sets it up basically how we want. That looks nice. That's more or less how Twitter works. But if we do something like this and there's nothing in there, all right, so we're gonna go and just return this div. We don't actually need the fragment on this one then. So let's go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Since it's all going to be contained in one div, we don't need another parent container. So now we have this like emoji drop down wrapper here. We're going to have curly braces in here, and I'm going to bring this inside the curly braces. All right, clean this up a little bit. So inside the curly braces, we're going to see if there is content. So we're going to say search emojis dot length is greater than 1. So if we have some content, we're going to show this. Otherwise, we're going to show a div. We might set up a class name equal to, and we'll say emoji dash drop dash down dash, and then search dash no results. So if there's no results, and let's fix this div. So we'll have like an h1, the class name equal to emoji drop down search no results header, and inside it will say no emojis found. And then we'll have a p class name equal to emoji drop down search no results, and this will be like a message. And inside the message it says try searching for something else instead. So if we try to search for something, there's content in there, we don't find it, we will deal with that. And I believe this should just work. I mean, it's going to be ugly right now, but right now you can see this is working as expected. Basically, we need to resize this a little bit and center it and probably add some padding and whatnot. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and grab this and copy it, and we're going to go ahead and paste it into here. Go ahead and here, and we're going to go ahead and just say width. We're going to say what width 100% and height 100% looks like. Height 100%. And then we are going to have a padding of like 12px, maybe it might be 16, we'll see. We're gonna go ahead and display flex, and we're going to justify content, and it might actually be flex start on this, flex start, and align items in the center. And let's see how this looks. And we also need to make sure that we have a flex direction of column. And we might have not needed flex, we'll see. Okay, that looks fine, except this doesn't seem like it has the padding on it, either that or flex start. We can try this one flex start and this one center maybe. I don't think that's it though. Okay, yes it is. Now this is just some weird flex area. Okay, we need to disable this whenever we don't have any material or any. So we'll say emoji search content question mark. Otherwise, this is probably not the recommended way to do this. We'll just ignore the events. Except we want not. So there's not search emoji content. So yep, there we go. That's working as expected. Cool. Now obviously this needs modified. It needs to be thicker, maybe a little bit smaller. So I can go ahead and actually take a look at what the font sizes look like really quick. So let's scroll down to the bottom again. Let's go ahead and copy the header. Let's copy this guy and come into here. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this like 16 because I think it needs a little bit more. And then here our font weight or font size will be 31px. We also want a font weight of probably pretty big, like 800. It might need to be 900, we'll see. Make sure all the margin goes away and make sure all the padding goes away. There shouldn't be any padding on it. So let's go ahead and grab the other font. So I went to the wrong one, get rid of that guy. We'll need it a little bit later. Let's go ahead and copy this message or this class and bring it in here. So here, the font size, font weight, and everything else. So font size will be 15. This will be 400, and then this will be 00. And we want to add a little bit of margin to the bottom of the header. We can, but so that still looks a little bit small, but I think that's probably fine. It's never gonna be perfect just because of the fact that it's a clone. It'll never be perfect. But now the search results look pretty good. We go like that, it gets rid of them. Cool. So that looks good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. We go like that, doesn't exist, get rid of them, comes back. It looks pretty good. I like it. Cool. So now the next thing to think about is maybe we figure out how to deal with the recents just to get it over with. This might be more work than I want it to be. So maybe what we go ahead and do is we try to make this open and close, get the positioning a little bit better, and then go from there. So let's go back into our code, and I'm guessing we need to go into our page. So let's go to our pages and home.tsx. So we have display toggle, display edit image modal, display tag people modal, and then schedule post, and so on and so forth. So it looks like we do have a modal slice. I didn't remember if we set one up or not. So let's go ahead and go into our modal slice, and then let's go ahead and say display emojis and boolean, and then we'll go ahead and set display emojis to false. And we could have done this differently, but it is what it is. We'll update display emojis, those taken the state is equal to ... state. Why? I don't know why it does this. Display emojis will be not state.display emojis, and then we will go ahead and export display emoji. Cool, that's good to go. Let's get rid of the emoji dropdown CSS, and I don't know if we need the emoji dropdown. We'll see. Now let's go back, and I lost our page, so let's go back into our home page, and we'll go ahead and say display, and we need to set this up, I guess. So we'll say const display, and this will be emoji. Emojis equal to use selector state root state, and then this will be state dot modal dot and then display emojis. Now I don't know if we really want this here, if we wanted it elsewhere, but it is what it is. And now we'll say display emoji, and then it copy again for some reason, copy display emoji, and we'll say, and we'll say emoji drop down. I think is what we called it. So now whenever we go ahead and set that, we'll pop it up and down. I think where we're actually putting the height is inside of the CSS, the drop down CSS. So I think up here, yeah, you see top and left. So I guess we technically know the heights and everything, and it should be relatively the same unless things get switched around. I think 295 probably would have been best, and save that. Cool. And I think we need to move to the left a little bit. So here, we'll just move it to the left. So I don't know how much to the left. So let's just say left like 500 px and just see where it goes and then move it around from there. So let's go 650. So 650 is pretty darn close. It might not be perfect, but I think 650, I'm going to roll with that. So now the last thing we need to do is we need to go into our feed post creator.tsx. And basically, whenever we click on our emoji SVG here, and I'm guessing, yeah, the on click is here. So on click, we need to go ahead and basically open emoji modal maybe, and let's go ahead and make that open emoji modal. So here, const open emoji modal equal to do this, do that, and then here we will dispatch, and we need to get the update display emojis, and just do that. Now, the only thing that we need to figure out is if we click off of this somewhere, it closes it. So we need to figure out how we're going to deal with that. But let's see if we can at least deal with this. And maybe if we click anywhere, it'll loop through and see if any of them are true and then close them or something. Or I can figure out something else. But let's see, at least see if we click on it. Oh, you know what? We also just have this open somewhere. It's just at the bottom. Okay. I was gonna say, I forgot we just had it open. So now it's not open. We click on this. Classic mistake. Try to go too fast. Make sure you return that state. And now it should work. Yep. Okay, now the thing is, if we click off, we want it to close out. So what we might do is inside of our home page, if we just like have an on click here, so we say on click equal to, and then maybe we call this close open modals. Basically, we can just add whatever we want to this. Const close opened modals. So here specifically, we'll say like if our display emojis is true, then we'll go ahead and dispatch update display emojis. So if it's true and we click outside and inside the home page somewhere, react.mouse event, it's just going to be general mouse event. Let first child any equal to e dot, let's say any current type or current whatever. Actually, let's say element any class equal to this. Let class name this. So if display emojis and class name not equal to, and this is like emoji drop down. So we want to keep it open if it's emoji drop down. Cool. Refresh this. The undefined thing is an issue. So basically this is also problem with the, was it the emoji? Is it emoji utils? And maybe we say, or the current p tag of 1 is equal to an empty space. So if either of those are true, we're gonna go ahead and set inner HTML index like that, I guess. And we might want to put index plus plus here and get rid of this index. This might scuff everything. Nope, just kidding. I'm the smartest man alive. Now it is a little bit scuffed with the emojis, but I don't really care. It is what it is. Cool, so there's that. Now what I'm thinking is whenever we do our recents, we need to check to see if there's any recents in the first place. And then what I'm thinking is we just keep a list of the last 9 recent ones and we just kind of like shuffle them around to like splices and stuff. So let's go back to our emoji dropdown. Basically what we'll do is we'll do const and then we'll say recent emojis and then set recent emojis equal to a use state of emoji data. This will be interesting to store and it'll be like this. And here what I want to do is I want a callback function, and I know I have a hook, but I don't remember how to use it. So let's copy this, and I'm not sure how or if this is going to work, but we'll see here. And maybe instead of that, we do this. So this will be, instead of JBT, this will be recent emojis, set recent emojis, and then remove recent emojis. Oops, recent emojis, and then we'll go ahead and import use local storage, and then this will be recent emojis. And I don't remember what this guy is. This one is the string. We can start that out as empty, I guess. So anytime that we click on something, let's do this. So we're gonna say like we can say emojis equal to JSON.string or JSON.parse, and we're gonna parse the recent emojis. And it might not like this. We're gonna go ahead and say that. We might need to check to see in the use effect if this exists. So let's go to the use effect. We'll get rid of this, and we'll say if not recent emojis. if we don't have a recent emojis, we will go ahead and set recent emojis to json.stringify, and it'll be an empty array. So let's just try this out, and we can even say that this is a emoji data array, and it's not gonna know that, but it's fine. So now we can at least say if our emojis dot contains, or let's say dot find, is that what I want to do? Dot find, and then so if not emoji dot find, and then we're gonna go ahead and say e dot, and then we can say, it doesn't really matter what we say because we have, let's say name, I guess, e dot name equal to, and then we'll say emoji dot name, and this is mad, so maybe we'll just say equal to name because we have the name of the emoji. So if that's the case, we might need to make another thing here. So if not this, we basically want to add this. So we want to say if here, we'll go ahead and say emojis dot unshift. Now the issue is going to be, we want this to be an emoji data object. So it's going to have name, which we have the name. It's going to have name. It's going to have category, which we do not have. It's going to have the emoji, which we technically have, I think. So we have emoji, and it's also going to take an image, which I don't think we have either. We have the big list of emojis, so we could say like emojis dot find, and then we can find e, where e dot name is equal to name. So we could say like let emoji data equal to this, and let me change this to emoji data. I guess we could do the same thing, right? So name is this, category be emoji data dot category, or empty string. Emoji, we already have the emoji because we found it, and then image will be we'll basically use the convert modifier to index. Yeah, because we do want this. So then this will be emoji data. And I guess this is not emoji data. This is actually the full emoji, but emoji data dot images, and then this will be convert this to this, and then we'll say current skin tone, or it'll be an empty string. Again, this shouldn't happen. It should always be there. And then what we can go ahead and do is say set to recent emojis to json.stringify, and then we can stringify the emojis like so. So theoretically that should set that every time we click on it if we don't find it. So let's see if this works as we expect. So let's give us a good refresh. Click on this guy. The emoji has not been recently added, add to the list. So we go into our application. Hopefully you can see we have the name, smiley, and everything like that. If we click on another one, it should add it again. We might have to refresh to see this, or it might be there. I can't tell. If we refresh, yep, now there's two. So it's there, it's working. And you know what? I just realized this is broken because we had the display open. So we'll need to fix that, which is why I had it at like 30% or whatever, but okay, whatever. So that's fine. So now we need an else. So if we do find it, then I guess what we need to do is we need to find it inside of the array, right? So we need to find like the index, and I don't know if we can find the index. We'd probably have to loop through until we find it, slice it, and then pop it to the front, I guess. So, and I forget how slice works. So what we'll do is if we do find it in there, for let I equal to 0, I is less than emojis dot length I plus plus, And then what we want to go ahead and do, what we want to do is say if the emojis I dot, and we have the name, I guess, name is equal to name. If that's the case, then we're going to go ahead and say emojis dot splice, and we're going to splice at the array I, and we're going to splice 1. We're going to remove it from that spot, and then we're going to go ahead and say emoji, whoops, not there. And then outside that, we'll go ahead and say emojis dot unshift. We're going to go ahead and unshift, and we're going to do the same thing, or not unshift, just shift, I think. Yeah, no, unshift. We're going to unshift this guy. Now, the last thing that I want to do is I want to keep it a certain size no matter what. As we shift things over, then what we'll go and do is we will, and this returns dot, we'll say slice. We'll return a slice to the array from 0 to 9. So then if we start getting more than 9 in there, it shouldn't be an issue. And I think that's all we need to do for this, other than the fact that we need to create the section for recent. So let's go ahead and do the recent section. And this might be as easy as this, fingers crossed. So here, this will be recent. ID will be recent. Header. We'll still have this wrapper, but instead of mapping through generate emojis, we're going to map through recent emojis. Although we need to JSON.parse this. And this is mad at me because this will be an emoji data. Now, I don't know if that's going to work. This should be recent. Save that. The only other issue is that there's a clear all recent. That won't be too hard to do. And what else do we need? So it looks like there's a border underneath this one for some reason. And then we need to get the top guy working. All right, we have about 20 minutes. Let's try to power through here. So I need to look at what we do for like the ID and ID recent header. So maybe I say if ID is equal to, and then this will be recent header, and then we will set intersecting of 0 equal to true. We might need to do one other thing. Find first true. Okay, so that's working. Now the only issue, although it didn't set smileys, interesting. So we might need to debug that. I'm not that concerned about it, to be honest. Maybe we should set active category to 0 to start, and then we're also going to need to go ahead and set active category to first true. Okay, but I'm guessing this is going to scuff some other stuff. Okay, still not. Maybe we debug it later. Maybe it has something to do with this. Data 0, images 0, ID recent. Yeah, I think that's fine. Well, this is a little bit scuffed, so we need to look into that, but at least this is working. Let's go ahead and get the clear all next to the recent at the very least. And then I can make a note of this bug, and maybe I can debug in a different stream. I just want to kind of get this done. So now let's go down to our recent. So recent. So now I guess we're going to wrap this inside of a div class name equal to emoji drop down selector recent section. We'll put the h2 in, and then we'll put like an h3 or something, and we'll say h3 class name equal to emoji drop down selector, and then this will be clear recent, and this one will have an on click equal to, and then we can literally just say so let's go ahead and say set recent emojis to JSON.stringify, and we'll stringify an empty array. and then inside it'll go ahead and say clear all. So now we need to, whoops, clear all. And now we need to go ahead and copy this and bring it into our CSS, and I'll put it here, I guess. So here width will be 100%. Height will be fit content. Display will be flex. Flex or justified content will be space between, and we'll align items in the center, and that should deal with that. That's fine. And now we need to deal with the clear all, and that should be fine. So let's go ahead and grab the clear all. So clear recent, let's copy this guy, and we'll come into here. We don't need that. We don't need the feed post creator currently. Do this. So now color will be Twitter blue. It's pretty thick. Font actually would be, yeah, font size 14px. Let's also go ahead and get rid of margin. Margin 0. It's gonna have some padding. Padding 0, 12px. And then we want a border radius. We'll try like 50px and see how it looks. And what else do we want? Maybe font weights of like 600. And let's see how this looks. So it's gonna look a little bit funky. I don't know why it's, so let's say width is fit content. So we'll grab this, and in the recent section we're gonna add the position sticky. So if we come in here, I'm gonna say clear, or I'm gonna say recent title. I'm gonna copy this and we're gonna change this slightly. So we're gonna come back into here, dot recent title, and we can grab most of the data from this one. So we can grab most of this and we'll clear some stuff out. So I don't care about this. The padding can stay, margin can stay, background color doesn't matter, and width will be fit content. And I think that should fix our issue there. So now that looks fine. Recent's not working anymore. I think it's because it doesn't have the section title anymore. So I might have to add this as well. So I might have to say let recent header equal a document dot query selector dot this. We'll also do if recent header not equal to null, observer dot observe recent header. Whoops, recent header. Okay. So there's that fixed. Now we need to get the clear all styled up. So now clear all dot, and then emoji dash drop dash down dash selector dash recent colon hover. So now this whole background color of RGBA, and we want to convert this color, and let's paste it in. So we'll have our RGB, grab an A, and then we'll say 0.3. And then we need to maybe change up how big the border is. Well, I grabbed the wrong one. That's why. And colon hover. Oops, if I could type colon hover, like 0.15 maybe. I think 2 is going to be too much. Cursor is pointer, cursor pointer, and if we clear it, they go away. So now we need to say also in recent, one last thing before we wrap up. So where we're showing this, recent should only pop up if there is a recent one. So here in recent, wrap here and here. We want to check if we have recent data. Let's clean this up. Wasting a bunch of time here. Could have been done a lot faster. So we want to say recent emojis dot length is greater than 0. Question mark. If it is, we'll do this. Otherwise, we just return nothing. So it still didn't work. So let's say greater than 1. Maybe there's an error that I'm not seeing. I'm going to say recent emojis dot, I'm going to say JSON dot parse recent emojis dot length is greater than 1. Maybe it was looking at the length of the string. And then all of a sudden, watch, it's going to start working again. Yeah, so I don't know. It's something weird with that. If we click on this, it doesn't add right away. If we refresh, oh, you know what? This should be greater than 0. There we go. Now I want to see what happens if we add 9. We add 9. It just keeps shifting over. If we, for example, click this guy, where's the guy with the cross eyes? It should go 1 and just shift. Yep, it's working. We can clear all. It goes away. So that's working. I don't know what was going on with the observer. We might want to recircle back to that content, but for right now, I'm not that concerned about it. I think that I'm pretty happy with this. And for some reason, clicking off is not working. Don't know why, but you know what? It's always going to be that. Okay, that should be an easy fix, but it's getting late and I need to hop off and go to bed. So that's going to be it for this stream. So we did get quite a bit done. We got the recents working, and we can open this. Closing it is another thing. We'll have to basically be like, if it's one of these classes or something, we need to figure out some other way so that if we click on the inside, maybe let's try one last thing before I do go to bed. So if this, we'll do this and we'll get rid of this stuff, and we'll stop propagation inside the emoji dropdown. So on click, whenever we add an emoji, what if we on click anywhere inside of emoji dropdown? So on, ooh, that's gonna break though, right? I think this is gonna break the other things though. Still adds it. We click out. Huh. Okay, there we go. That's how you do it right there. Click on these. This is still working. It's fine. Click outside of it. Cool. All right, well, that's gonna wrap it up. Basically everything we got done. So I'm gonna go ahead and hopefully, fingers crossed, remember to mark down that there is an issue inside the emoji, or I might not. And whenever we come back in the next stream, we're gonna go ahead and probably set up a little search bar here, or actually we'll hop into Java, get searching working for users, maybe set up some extra users to search for, and then start getting some posts displaying down here. So again, thank you all for watching. It is getting late for me, so I am gonna sign off, and I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream or episode, whatever you want to call it. Have a great day, great evening, great afternoon. I'll see you guys in the next one.